All right. Good morning, good afternoon, and thank you guys for coming. My name is Wade Cornett. I am a consultant here at Expium, and today we're going to be talking about Jira Service Management for ITSM and all of those ITSM features that that come along with Jira Service Management. This webinar really sort of builds on itself from another webinar that we did named Jira Service Management Fundamentals. We actually do that webinar a week before we do this one. So we'll drop a link into the chat so you guys can go back and watch that one if you want. All of these webinars are on a cycle. So if you miss one, you can always go back and watch the latest one on our YouTube channel, or sign up for the next one coming up. And at the end of this, I have a link to all of our upcoming classes. So the difference between this webinar that you guys have found yourself in today is that this webinar covers all of the basic, or I'm sorry, the past webinar covers all of the basic Jira Service Management configuration, like the portal, creating tickets as a customer, managing those tickets as agents, and then managing your project as a project admin. All that is the day-to-day Jira Service Management basics. But today, what we're going to be specifically talking about are the ITSM features within Jira Service Management for cloud. This is cloud-specific functionality. You are not going to get these, quote-unquote ITSM features on data center. All of these features are something that you can turn on within Jira Service Management for cloud. You do not have to start out with them, and you certainly do not have to keep them. So you can toggle these features on and off, or pick and choose the ones that you want. So I'm going to go in and just kind of talk briefly about last week's webinar that we did, which is that fundamentals. So what we talked about were the features provided by the project type of Jira Service Management, and then the differences between agents and customers and the cost between those. We talked about customizing the portal, for your customers, whether those are internal or external. We talked about building out queues, SLAs, and then connecting a knowledge base that is hosted in Confluence. And then we do talk a little bit about automation and going through automating those repetitive tasks there within Jira. So what we're going to talk about today, though, again, as I've said, I think 2 or 3 times now, are the ITSM features within Jira Service Management. And I will list those very specifically. That is service request management, asset management, incident management, change management. And then we are going to cover a couple additional products within the Jira Service Management suite. That is going to be Insight, which you will get with Premium Jira Service Management Cloud. That also includes Opsgenie. And we are going to cover Statuspage, which is a separate project. And automation for Jira is now built into Jira Cloud. However, just to kind of briefly let you know about automation, a lot of the automations you are going to see throughout the course of these specific demos do use what is called global automation, or cross-project automation. And you can do those in the standard version of Jira Service Management. However, you do have a cap on your rule executions. Those are going to be 500 rule executions for that standard version, and unlimited for Premium, and those add up quickly. So if you see something you like here in automation for Jira, be thinking carefully about how many rule executions that could essentially add up to over the course of a month for your automations. So the demos that we are going to cover today are service management, asset management, incident management, and change management. There are quite a bit more things you can do within the ITSM suite for Jira Service Management, such as service configuration management, problem management, knowledge management, and enterprise service management. This demo is not going to cover that, but just know that that you can do that. So move on here. And then I'm going to talk just briefly about Expium as a whole. We are a Platinum Solutions partner with Atlassian, and we offer things such as training, both paid for and free, free being the example of this webinar here. And then we do a Jira Service Management Bootcamp that we offer now, which is a full end-to-end training. It's 2 days long, all day. We take the perspective of being a customer, being an agent managing those tickets, being a project admin and maintaining that service desk, and then being a Jira administrator. It is hands-on in a demo instance. We have exercises built out for you to complete, as well as a large capstone project at the end to reinforce your skills that you learn there in that class. With that, we also do a Jira Bootcamp, which is a little bit more ground level in terms of managing Jira software projects, as well as that more in depth into the back end administrative configuration. We also do consulting that can be anything from just consulting on best practices within Atlassian products, as well as custom solutions, custom configuration, and building out essentially whatever you guys need us to within your Atlassian products. Lastly, last thing I want to talk about is our sister company is a full stack development company. So if we cannot, as Expium consultants, create a solution for you within the tool, and there is something that you guys really need, then you really need to do. We have a lot of experience in building custom add-ons, which is going to use the Jira API. We've completed many front-end applications that lay on top of like Jira Service Management portal to really give you that customized look and feel that you may need for your customers. So that is a little bit about us. And before we get going here, and the slides are going to stop soon, I promise. Before we get going, I do just want to say, please post your questions in the chat as I'm going. If something, if you have a question about something you've seen or something that applies to your company and you'd like a little bit of information on, I will go through all of the questions at the end of the webinar. And then if I don't make it to your question, and there are quite a bit here, feel free to reach out to me. I think my project coordinators can link my email address as well as my LinkedIn maybe in the chat for us. That being said, let's actually get into this. So asset and service management. Who does this apply to, right? This applies to service teams as well as IT teams. And the challenge that we see a lot of times here that people are not able to do before they get to Jira Service Management is easily track and manage assets as well as services relating to those assets. So we're going to be looking at a couple of tools here, that being Jira Service Management, Insight, and Automation for Jira. Everything you're going to see is going to be completely out of the box and something you could spin up in your instance today after watching this demo. But so anyways, the solution here is to add an easy to maintain asset database that will seamlessly integrate with your ticketing system. And so now I'm going to kill this slide and we are going to get into it. I'm going to come out here to our portal. All right, so this is my my help center, or as we like to say, the portal of portals. And what I'm going to do now is just take the perspective of an employee at a company that needs to request a new laptop, right? You can see I have a couple of portals that I can go to for specific requests, but we're going to look specifically at the IT service desk. And now we have our portal groups, but mostly what I'm concerned with is getting the computer that I have that I need to request. And to do that, I'm going to use the request, which is request a new laptop. How fitting. Now, because I'm an admin and manager in this project, I can actually raise this request on behalf of other people, but I'm going to leave it set to myself. And then the reason I am requesting a new laptop, let's say my equipment is damaged. Any additional details? I got mad and broke it. I'm still mad. Which model would you like? And then this, let's take a look here for a second. This is not just any custom field. If you are familiar with creating custom fields in Jira software or in Jira Service Management, this one is slightly different. It is called an Insight object field. And what we can see here are 3 laptop models. We have a MacBook Pro 13-inch, MacBook Pro 16-inch, and a ThinkPad, yeah, that one. And so what has happened here within this custom field is it actually searched my Insight database, and it looked at the available laptops that we actually have in stock within our organization that allows me to, request and ask for one. So, if I'm approved, if this request is approved, it will actually, there will be one less of one of these laptops for other people to pick from. And so you can really maintain your list of in stock or out of stock and the status of your items here. And we are going to take a deeper dive into Insight once I get through submitting this ticket. I just wanted to show you this. That being said, one more thing, the list of laptops that we actually have within the organization is more than what you see here, but these are the ones that are available. And what I mean by that is we're not going to see laptops that are currently in use by other people within the company. So I'm going to go ahead and just submit this request really quick. And what we can see here is all of the information that I provided. It's that standard portal view. We talked a lot about this last week, the things you can do, the things you can see here. But I think it is important to maybe note one more time that the status of this issue is in waiting for approval. So no automation is going to kick off until my request is actually approved, because we would not want a laptop automatically sent to me, no matter how much I would like it. But let's take a look here. What I have is I can see the laptop that I requested. So we saw those 3 models of the laptop out there on the form. This is what it looks like on the agent's side. We still have the description of the MacBook Pro, but look at all the information that we now have. It gives us the vendor, which is Apple, and this is an attribute on built out in Insight. So we could click this and see every other object that has the vendor of Apple, whether it be an iPhone, an iPad, a MacBook, you name it. So it's just this tiered view of objects that really, expand. And we can see other information here, and this can get as wild as you would like it. But I think most importantly, what we can see is the status of the item. This status is now in an offered status. Because I requested this, no one else can request this same laptop unless there are more in stock. But if this was the last one, someone else following up a request behind me, won't be able to actually, ask for this exact same laptop because it'll show as, or it just won't show at all. And then down here, this is even more exciting, I think. We have this affected equipment field. And what that means is this is the laptop that I actually owned before I broke it. And because I admitted that I broke my laptop, now this laptop is marked as damaged in the Insight database. We can see some other information on it, such as the warranty date, and then the serial number and things like that. But most importantly, the model. But now no one can check this laptop out because it's damaged. So it could be marked for repair, and a different project within Jira may actually handle the repairs of that laptop. And then we see, so Brian is actually my manager in Insight. So he is an Insight object. This is not an Insight object field, but within Insight, just submitting this basic request pulled my manager out. And now this request has gone to him for approval to get my new laptop. I'll probably actually be fired because I got mad and broke mine. But things happen and we have to deal. But so I'm going to go up here and I'm going to change. I'm actually going to add an approver so that we can move on with this demo and add myself as an approver. So I'm going to go ahead and approve my own request. So now, once we hop back into Insight here, we can look at how this is configured, and we can see that the new laptop that I've actually requested for myself now becomes mine. It will no longer be offered. It is actually, it's being actively used, and that is reflected as a status too. So up here in the top banner bar, throughout your instance, whether you're in Jira Service Management or Jira Software, you will see this Insight tab up here. So you can quickly navigate to that. What we see here first is a list of object schemas. And we're going to spend some time mostly talking about services. But for this specific asset management demo, we are dealing with IT employee assets, such as my laptop, and employees, being myself. So let's look at the object schema for IT employee assets. And what we can see here is a roll-up of, we have different objects that we're offering, being laptops, that roll up under this hardware category, as well as metadata. Now, metadata really is just a name that we've given this information, but what it shows is the vendors of the products, meaning Apple, Lenovo, or Samsung, whoever, as well as the locations that they're used in. But I'm going to show you how we can actually view all of that information while looking at a specific laptop. So these laptops are what are considered Insight objects. I think I've probably said that a couple times now. I have a tendency to repeat myself. But the we can see all the information that we saw out there on the field. This actually happens to be Brian's laptop. We can see the cost, and we can see the status of it, that it is in use. So this laptop will never actually be offered to be selected out on the customer portal. What else we can see are, well, any attribute that we decide to add here, as well as the history of this laptop. So you can see that Brian breaks his laptop all the time, and he is constantly submitting new Jira issues for this request. So every time an Insight object is referenced on a ticket within Jira, or Jira Service Management or Jira, you will see a connected Jira issues here that have not actually been resolved. really nice to be able to keep track of things. The reason this presents this way is automation for Jira. Once we do these demos, just resets everything that we have gone in and done. Now let's just really quickly find my laptop, and I apologize for forgetting the number. Here we go. So the laptop that I broke is now marked as damaged. We can see that automation ran and actually marked my status from in use to damaged. So, and then we can see again the request that I've raised here. But what will happen is once this issue is actually transitioned to done, this service request, this laptop will no longer be associated with me, and the new one that I requested will be. So I do just want to show you guys here that, you know, these are going to be those in-stock laptops and the location that they exist. I mean, that's how that's configured, is we have multiple laptops in stock all listed out here. But let's take a look at something pretty interesting. Actually, we should use Brian. He's a little bit more flushed out. We have this option to view what is called an object graph. And it gets pretty deep. So we can click on our employee, Brian. We can see that Brian, and Brian's a pretty important guy around here, not only is he does Brian work in the IT department? He's the IT manager. He also works in HR. But Vicky is actually his manager over in HR. So let's go back here to Brian. We can see everything related to him, all of his assets. So we have an iPhone 12 assigned to Brian, currently marked in use. Brian has a monitor assigned to him. We can see that it is Elite Display, 27-inch monitor with the manufacturer of HP. And we can also see Brian's laptop, or the laptop, the laptop model that's associated with him. Or we could come down even further and see all the information that we ever wanted to see about the MacBook Pro 13-inch, whether it's Apple, and how many of them we actually have in stock, and the status of each of these. So this can get pretty wild. It's really nice. It's a great visualization and a roll-up of how everything is interconnected when you set up Insight for asset management correctly. And we can even dive deeper into Apple, and we can see all of the Apple products that currently exist within our organization. I'm gonna hop out of this here. All right, jumping back to our project. That really is that asset management demo. So basically, what you saw was a user came to the portal, requested a new laptop, and they told Jira, or Jira Service Management rather, that the laptop was damaged, the one that they currently already had. That laptop within Insight was marked as damaged. A new laptop was pulled out of Insight that we had in stock, and now I guess I can go through and I can go through and I can mark this issue as done, and now a new laptop will be associated with me. All right, so I am going to come back over here. If you have any further questions about what you saw there, please put that in the chat. Email me your specific questions, what have you. We are going to move on to our incident management demo here. And then we're going to get back into Insight in a little bit to talk about services. But let's go back here. I just want to show you guys my slides because we worked so hard on them. So we have incident management now, separate demo. Who is incident management for? Incident management is for IT operations. And then the challenge that we see with other tools outside of Jira Service Management is the ability to respond quickly to get things back up and on track and ensure proper follow-up, with these incidents. So the solution here is a centrally managed alerting and trafficking of deployments and service relationships, an incident command center, and integrated communications. That is a lot of words to say. We are going to use Jira Service Management, Opsgenie, Statuspage, and Confluence to appropriately notify the correct people that an incident has occurred, document everything along the way, and notify our customers of the affected service that may be experiencing an outage. So I'm going to come back to Jira, and I'm going to come back out to my portal. And I am going to submit a problem, report a system problem. So summarize the problem. The website is down. How did this happen? Kylie broke it. Affected services. So this gets back to the services that we have built out in Insight, and we are going to take a deeper dive into that here in a minute, but I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to select website as my affected service, which is the problem that I have just stated. And now we can set our urgency as well as our impact, which are two fields that you could have created on your own, but will automatically be created for you when you spin up the incident management feature inside of Jira Service Management. And I will show you guys how to do that briefly. I'm going to say that this is a high priority item, or it needs to take effect urgency, and the impact is significant and large. So we're going to go ahead and submit this request now and take a look at all of the things that have happened. So I can click up here on my issue key and give it a second to load. All right, so now we have a couple of new fields that have automatically been added to our screen that we didn't have to go in and create custom fields for. They are fields related to incident management. That is going to be investigate affected services, changes on affected services. There's quite a bit here. We have this ability to mark it as a major incident, the ability to start a conference call or a chat channel, the responders, and the stakeholders of this service. We also down here at the bottom have this option to inform stakeholders. So it is a third comment option for incident management requests. And it really presents more as an email out to your stakeholders about the status of the incident and what you want to let them know. But let's scroll back to the top here and take a look at what we've got going on. I have submitted a request. I'm sorry, not a request. Well, yes, a request. But I have submitted an incident that my website is down. And I selected my affected service, which is the website. And what I can see is here is one open incident on the service. The website is down. This is a really nice and handy way to be able to see which or if multiple requests are coming in all for the same thing, those will all roll up here, so you don't have to go in and actually manage multiple requests that all saying, hey, the website's down, the website's down. You can quickly go in and link all of those together and essentially work the first one almost as a parent that has come in. And then we can see the information about this service and we don't have a description, but it is a tier 1 service. We have this investigate button up here, which is really cool. If you have your CI/CD tools connected, such as Bitbucket, you can see your most recent deployments and the status of those deployments. So I can see that on June 27th, I had a deployment to production. It was successful, but maybe I know who worked on this issue and they don't always do everything correctly. So I could flag it as a potential cause here, and now it's marked. So I can click add potential causes, and you can see down here now, I have at least a starting place that I could, use to track down the cause of this incident. Moving down the line, I have the list of changes on my affected service. So we can see that last month there was a change request submitted for a website update. I can go in, quickly navigate over to this specific issue. I can see exactly who, coming down here, I can see who approved the status. I can see the risk summary. I can scan for that. We're going to get into change management in a little bit later, so I'm actually going to hop out of this. But just a quick way to view your referenced your changes on that affected service that could be a potential cause as well. A couple more things here before we get down into the nitty-gritty. We have the ability to flag this as a major incident. It creates a nice little label up here. And then it will create a major incident over in Opsgenie. That being said, Opsgenie is being more and more integrated within Atlassian. So Opsgenie does exist as a standalone product, but you used to have what they considered the command center over in Opsgenie. It still does exist, but you can also do that over here in Jira Service Management without ever having to leave that. So you can start a conference call that people can just access every time they come to this specific, or the specific issue. So they could join the conference call right here from the ticket and just communicate with all of the responders and all of the stakeholders that may be dealing with this issue. We can see the responders, so the responder team that is set up in Opsgenie to handle this service, which is the IT Ops team, and as well as the stakeholders if we had any for this service. So let's go over to Opsgenie really quick and take a look at this. What has happened is an alert has been raised when I submitted that ticket that the website is down. I can see it right here, and as well as it being escalated to a major request. So we have multiple alerts coming in for the incident. I have the ability to acknowledge the request saying, yes, we know this is an issue. We are working on it, all over here in Opsgenie. And then, oops, I'm sorry about that. You have the ability to over here add an action. Actions can come in all sorts of shapes and sizes. It is something that is essentially hard-coded somewhere or uses APIs to take effect on your service, so that you could automatically shut down your AWS server. You could automatically kill your website if that's what you felt like you needed to do to resolve this incident. And then if we take a deep dive into the incident, oops, let's go to the other one. If we take a deep dive in here, what we can see are the Jira Service Management tickets that are related to this alert. We can see some of the details, and you can add extra properties here, but we can see the status of this, the priority, and the issue key. We can see the description and the priority that's set. We can also see the activity log about who all the alerts have been sent out to. We've got our routing rules running within Opsgenie, and we can see our responder states. So the email has been sent to Brian. He is on call right now, and he is going to be the one handling this. And then I could also be the one who acknowledged this alert, and we can see on the activity log, if I refresh, that I was the one to acknowledge it. Yep. So I've reviewed the alert on the web and I've acknowledged it. And we can also even see that the status of the email was delivered. So just for good reporting. Now I do want to jump back here really quick to Teams and just look at the IT Ops team that is handling this. Within Opsgenie, you can set up your routing rules saying, you know, if the priority is greater than P3, then route it to the IT Ops escalation. And we can have our list of escalation policies down here below, as well as our on-call schedule. So this is going to show us who is on call at that given time, or we could actually take the on-call rotation for an hour. Down here is where you would configure those actions I talked about. I am getting slightly behind, so I'm kind of rushing through Opsgenie, but I do want to really quick jump over and hit change management so that we have enough time to do that. But to wrap this up, we have integrations. So we can add all sorts of integrations here through Opsgenie. I mean, just anything you can imagine to integrate through Opsgenie. So what Opsgenie is Opsgenie, it sits between you and your monitoring tools. So as you are experiencing outages through your services, Opsgenie will be able to create those alerts and notify the correct teams in the correct manner that you see fit. All right. If you have any questions there, again, put them in the chat, or feel free to shoot me an email later. So now, lastly, the last demo we're going to do is our change management demo. Brian likes to call it change enablement, change management. So who is this for? Change managers and developers. The challenge is it is tough to manage risk and coordinate changes within organizations. There are so many bureaucratic practices that changes have to go through at times, but within Jira Service Management, we can automate a lot of this, the potential risk here, and handling things like your normal changes. So the solution is automated risk assessment, ticket creation, and ticket resolution. And what we're going to be using for this specific demo is Jira Service Management, Bitbucket, and automation for Jira. I realize I am probably talking fast. So let's hop back out to our portal one more time. Let's see. Okay. I'm going to go down here and request a change. Let's say just so I'm saying we need to add the euro to our payroll service. I don't know, quickly. And we can pick our affected service again, which is going to be payroll. And, oh, there we go. I could choose a planned start date, so I could plan it to start on June 1st, and then my planned end date can be, oh, these are past date. Oh, that's July, I'm sorry, July 1st and July 2nd. And then the planned change start date could be the 3rd and the 4th, or what we were saying is the change completion date. This request does require my approval. I can approve it right here on the portal, but what has happened is automation has run in the background. It has looked at the change approvers group for this payroll service that I have selected, and it has automatically notified all of those approvers that this requires approval. So I can go in and approve it, but first what I want to show you is that we can go ahead and scan our risk summary. And what we're saying is we could not find any recent incidents on the affected service. So that's good, but we do need to add a, well, that's funny. My planned start date and planned end date didn't save. Let's go ahead and do that. Hey, why is that doing that? Just picking some random dates here. There we go. Now we can scan again, and our risk summary should say that we're looking good. It's low risk. We don't have any other changes right now that may affect or conflict with this change that we've just submitted. And we don't have any incidents on the affected service like we did see on that incident that I had raised earlier. I can come up here and I can schedule my change. There's a couple things I really want to show you, and I'm getting short on time. And then we have the change calendar. So we can see, yeah, that change is going to take a while. But we can see our add euro to payroll service, and it actually is conflicting with this other change. So I'm not sure why that didn't show up in the risk assessment, but let's carry on. So what I want to show you is when I, oops, what am I doing? I come back here to changes. I say open changes, and I look at this that I've scheduled. What I can do is move it to implementing, and let's watch what happens. I'll refresh my screen. Well, normally what will happen, and I'm not sure why it's not at this moment. Hang on. I can come to my Bitbucket and go to my payroll repository. And maybe it is happening and it's just taking a minute. Normally, well, okay, I know what I did wrong here. So what I can do really quickly is come to my source. I can make an update to my my commit here. I can just change Brian to Wade. Sorry, this is probably getting a little confusing. I'll make it come full circle here in a minute. And I'm going to commit that change. Now what has happened in the So what's supposed to happen, and I'm not quite sure why. Oh, it's still in progress. That's why. So what I was trying to show you originally was a standard change that required approval. We'll go in and automatically create that ticket, notify the correct users. but for something like a normal change, we could actually come straight into Bitbucket, make a change to our commit the code, and what it will do once it stops loading or once it stops deploying is it will have automatically gone in and created and also automatically closed the issue so that no one ever has to go in and actually go through a CAB process for these normal changes. It all happens automatically. I know that I went through that fast. I apologize. I would love to hear if you guys have any questions related to that. Oh, here it is. So what happened is when I went into my payroll service, I've told Jira Service Management that that service for payroll is not a tier 1 system. It's tier 2. So we have accepted that as a normal change there. I actually made a commit over in my code repo, committed the code, and it actually deployed the code, went through and ran it through the entire change management process and created and transitioned the ticket to done without ever having to bother any of our change approvers. It is pretty slick. So now we have our affected payroll service. We can come check it out, and we can see the service owners. It's actually tier 3. And then if there were any relationships here, we could quickly dive out to our repository that it was updated in. But yeah, let's kind of pause here. I know I went through that quickly, but let's start handling your guys' questions. I want to make sure that we give us enough time to go through that. I know there are specific things that you guys are probably looking to see. And I hope that I did a good job of demoing this for you guys, even though we got a little bit crunched for time. All right. So I don't see any questions over in the chat. I am happy. I'm happy to sit here and ask, wait for you guys to ask a couple questions, ask for anything that you guys might have, or feel free to drop off here. This is my first time demoing this specific webinar, so it might have been a little rough. I apologize. All right, guys. Well, I'm not seeing any questions, so I can fill a little bit of the time maybe talking about services. I know I kind of had to rush through some of that. Still trying to get a feel for this specific webinar. What services are is we can come here and we can actually create a service for anything that we may use or maintain within our organization, such as our inventory management system, our payroll system, website, or even a service like Zoom. And so we can create anything similar to that. Hang on a second. I might be doing something wrong here, guys. Oh, thank you. I do have a question. When using Insight, do we have to give a machine a unique name that that stays with it through its life cycle? In terms of unique names, no, you don't necessarily have to give it a unique name. It will have a key that lives with it through its life cycle, and you can reference that key in queries. And that key is actually going to be denoted by this tag. Now it does say name, and so yes, in that instance, that will live with it through its life cycle. But you could use this tag on any of that, and then I'm sorry, this is actually the key that is associated with it. This IT employee assets -94. That's what that ITEA stands for. It will automatically create that, and then these attributes that you create can be updated at any time. Good question. We have somebody else ask, with change management, are there any add-ons needed, or is this straight through ITSM? Yeah, great question, and that leads me to something I did gloss over. You don't need any add-ons to do anything that you saw today. This is all done with out of the box Jira Service Management. It does require the premium tier for a lot of the items you saw today, such as Opsgenie and Insight. But if you come down to project settings down here in your service desk, you'll see this tab named Features. And if you don't have any of these requests or these management items turned on, such as service request, incident management, problem management, you can actually go ahead and turn these on, and you can see the features that you'll get throughout it. So that a lot of that comes with these custom fields that maybe you saw, some of these buttons up here at the top for incidents, like that investigate. You're going to get things like implementation plan, backup plan, test plan, plan start and plan to end. And then all of your changes or incidents or problems are now routed through this new queue that is actually created for you over here on the left. So they do act the same as queues that you may already have configured in your service desk, but for incidents, for example, will automatically get routed to this new incident management queue that has been created. And we can see things specifically like our major incidents that have been marked or resolved incidents in the last 7 days, something like that. It's just a way to break out those requests from your main queue list. Good question. Give you guys just a couple more minutes to ask some more questions. Oh, I was talking about services. I apologize. So we can come in and actually create a service. So you're just going to fill out the tier service that it actually is, give it a name, assign it to a service owner team over in Opsgenie. Select a group for your change approvers, but you don't have to, or connect a repo for this service. And how this presents is over here. We can visualize all of that. So the tier service that it is, the service owners, the change approvers, and then the repository that's linked. But also what we see are the upstream and downstream service relationships, right? So the website actually depends on the payment system, our inventory system, and our loyalty program. So if there was an incident on maybe our payment system, that could actually cause an incident for our website and maybe a potential cause, or actually cause an outage further downstream. And then within this services tab here, we can see all of the currently open incidents on that service. All of your services are actually created here within within this service tab in your service desk, but they are tracked and stored within Insight. It is a default object schema that you will get when you have the ITSM features spun up, and we can see all of our services that you just saw on that screen listed out over here within Insight. And we can see all of the times that, let me pick website, for example. We can see all of the incidents that have ever been, you know, or I'm sorry, every time this specific service has ever been referenced, as well as unresolved Jira issues that have mentioned this service on it, and those relationships. So pretty neat. Don't see any other questions coming in. I think with that, I will hang out for the next couple minutes, but I'm not so sure how much I really have to add in 4 minutes, unless you guys have a question that I could answer. Before you all drop off, I do want to thank you guys for attending this. I think our project coordinators probably linked my email address in, as well as my LinkedIn in the comments. So you guys can get a hold of me there to answer your questions if need be. And yeah, Gina, thanks for asking. I just put this calendar of upcoming trainings on the screen. We've got our Jira Bootcamp coming up next in August, and then we have some more free webinars coming up, as well as a Jira Service Management Bootcamp if you're interested in that. I think maybe our project coordinators could also link you to our training schedule to where you can go and sign up for that. All right, guys. Well, I am going to go ahead and close this up. Again, I thank you for attending and bearing with me. This is my first time going through this. I hope you found it useful or got something out of it. And again, if you didn't, feel free to go ahead and shoot me an email and I'll help you get the information that you need. Thanks, guys.